Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Theresa Y. Wee, MD. We're going to be discussing her amazing book, My COVID-19 Diary, Practical Tips and Scriptures for Improbable Times from an American Doctor. Now, people, it's available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com, but listen to me, and listen to me closely. If you want to gather everything that she has in store, do yourself a favor and head directly to her personal site. And that's author TheresaWee.com. There you'll find more information on her, more information on this fantastic narrative, as well as find information on another book that she's written, and that one is called The Happy Healthy Revolution, The Working Parent's Guide to Achieve Wellness as a Family Unit. I mean, listen, people, these titles they're directly to the point, so you know what you're going to be getting involved in, and I can tell you the education that you're going to receive is second to none. Head on over once again to author TheresaWee.com today and get your hands on all of it. And before we go any further, I do want to take this opportunity and point out that Theresa was brought to our network by one of the best advertising firms in the business. And people, you already know I'm talking about ReadersMagnet. So listen to me. If you're a writer out there, you have gone through your process, you have put in some sleepless nights creating your masterpiece, and now you find yourself in a precarious position because, well, now you need help moving the book you just finished creating. Well, I'm going to give you some fantastic advice. Contact Reader's Magnet. They're one of the best in the business to do it, and this is exactly what they specialize in. So head on over to ReadersMagnet.com today and gather all of the ways that they're going to help you do just that. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure, okay? A true delight to have Theresa here on the line. Now, as I mentioned, these titles, they're not leaving much to the imagination, all right? It's hitting it right on the nose. It's going to tell you exactly what you're in store for. Now, the anchor, as I mentioned, is a book called My COVID-19 Diary. And I know, people, I get it, okay? It seems like we have been battling this COVID-19 pandemic for an eternity, right? I mean, it's the gift that keeps on giving, okay? I mean, it's never ending. And now we see there's a resurgence of COVID-19. My wife is a physician. She works in the hospital. She tells me constantly all of the stories and the patients that she sees that are inflicted with it. Now, this is a fantastic book because it's going to be littered with so many valuable resources, so much wonderful pieces of information. It's Theresa's personal feelings in a written daily blog format. Okay, so when you pick up this book, you're going to receive daily blogs in addition to scripture that you're going to be able to utilize to not only increase your knowledge, but also teach you on how to live a healthy, happier life, right? I mean, there's going to be so much given within this book, and I promise you, people, we're only going to scratch the surface here today, okay? We're going to capture the essence of the book, but by the time we've concluded, you're going to run to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, author TheresaWee.com, and pick up your copies because you're going to realize how valuable of a book this truly is, and how, as much as we would love to have this COVID-19 pandemic just be done, we're still in the thick of it, right? And it's, we're weathering the storm, okay? There's a progression and there's different sides to this. There's plenty of nuances, but a book of this magnitude is a valuable resource that you're going to want to add to your shelf. And I'm going to take it a step further. It's an even better gift to add to someone else to add to theirs. So do me a favor, sit back, strap in, and have your notebooks ready, because you're about to get some valuable pieces of information. And don't take my word for it. Take Theresa's. It's her book. She's written it. It's her life that she's partially pulling things from and her ideas. Sit back, strap in, and listen to what she has to say. Theresa, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today?
Hey, hi, Benji. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, absolutely. Theresa, the pleasure is all ours. Okay, we're really looking forward to this. And I said it in my opening, but I truly mean it. I think what you're doing here is needed. I think what you're doing here is special, okay? And we know, of course, COVID-19 has really affected all of us, but in varying degrees. So on that spectrum, it's going to be vastly different based upon the individual and the circumstances. But one thing is certain. These helpful tips that you offer through your daily blogs are impressive and absolutely a necessity. So thank you for writing the book. Thank you even more for being a guest here to discuss it. Before we jump into the book, Theresa, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background, please.
So I was born and raised on Oahu, Hawaii, and I went on to, from the time I was 8 years old, I decided I wanted to be a medical doctor back in the 60s when I did not even know a woman physician. And through the encouragement of various people, I was able to accomplish that. And, you know, I am a pediatrician in private practice. Next year will be 40 years in private practice. And I've raised 4 children. I am now a grandmother of 5. But I have had the privilege and honor of being able to heal, cure, comfort families. But what I've seen recently is there's so much uncertainties and suffering and grieving and loss and disruption among families. So when COVID-19 started, the pandemic, I knew this was going to be unprecedented. I saw families panicking, like, how are we going to keep in touch? And it was at that time that I said, you know, I think I'm going to post daily blogs on social media in the hopes of staying connected with my patients, their families, but also my friends and loved ones, because I knew we were going to undergo a lot of panic, fear, despair. And so this began the journey. So, you know, I have a lot of personal experience. I am no exception. And I share freely with my parents that, you know, raising children and coping with work, the pandemic, and everything around us is very difficult. When I was 40 years old, working full-time as a pediatrician and raising 4 children with my husband, who was my business partner, he was an internal medicine doctor, so we had our private practice. I underwent my first depression. I didn't even know I was depressed for 1 year. Couldn't sleep, lost weight. I finally self-diagnosed myself. I was reading an article about depression, and I had to self-diagnose that I had a major depressive episode. I quickly sought help, and soon I saw the light. A second major event in my life happened 13 years ago. My husband, Dr. Stephen Wee, he was an internal medicine doctor who was my business partner, husband of 30 years. We had just celebrated our 30th anniversary, father to our 4 children. One day, he said, on June 11, 2010, he said, I don't feel well. I went to heat up our lunch, and when I returned, he was dead. He was diagnosed. He went to the emergency room and they diagnosed him. They tried everything to resuscitate him. The autopsy showed that he had a aortic aneurysm that no one was aware of. He was in perfectly good health. At the age of 56, he passed away. So I went through my second major depression, just trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. So, you know, I tell people it is only through the grace of God that I was able to gather myself, and I said, I'm going to just see if I can continue forward on my own. And I started a new business, We Pediatrics Incorporated, and I'm happy to say it's been about 11 years now, and I'm doing very well. But I share this information because I want people to know that we as physicians, we are not God. We are just like everyone else with problems, concerns, and hopes and dreams. And so, because I've been through this journey and I've gained a lot of wisdom through this adventure we call life, and I want to help others in any way I can. Don't give up. This is what you can do. Take one small step at a time. There's always hope. And, for me, my belief in God after the death of my husband, I have really become more engaged with my faith. And as a scientist, in medicine, we don't talk about God, but what I've learned from my scientific background is this earth, this planet is so amazing and so detailed. There has to be something much more than just this. There has to be a creator, a more powerful being up there who is organizing, our cells and our DNA. And so I hope that people will read these books and know that I'm coming from a place where I have had problems and I continue to have problems, but through my faith, I have a peace that goes beyond any understanding, and it pushes me forward.
Theresa, thank you very much for all of that. And listen, of course, goes without saying my sincerest apologies and condolences on the passing of your husband. People, I love what she's saying because, listen, it really, at least for me, and I know it is for so many of you, it is formulating a bridge, right? It resonates because you may not be able to understand all of her circumstances, but that, listen, death is inevitable, and we've all dealt with that. When it comes to this COVID-19 pandemic, we've all been dealing with it. So that bridge is being formulated, and we're able to resonate with the circumstances. So I love the connection that we've already established. Follow-up question, when it comes to your book, I know it's written in blog format, so it's a daily thing that your readers are going to be able to take advantage of. Well, can you go into a little bit more of a description of a few of those blogs and give us a little bit more of a taste of what to expect?
Well, for example, I talk about social connections, how very important it is. And I tell my readers, if you can FaceTime or write a letter or give a call to someone, during the COVID period, because I was trying to connect with my 4 children, and, there were times when we couldn't do it in person, but, even our beaches in Hawaii were locked down. So that's one thing, is talking about how to maintain mental health. I talk about, ways to stay healthy. Let's turn off the TV, get off the lazy boy. Why don't you just go for a 10-minute after dinner walk with your family, since everyone's at home? Let's take advantage of this home time. To me, the family unit, this was a great opportunity for families to really reconnect, communicate, and get acquainted again with each other. So many families, when I was talking to them, took advantage of this, and I think that was very important. So I give motivational tips on how to maintain sanity during these crazy times.
A great term, right? Maintain sanity. Because listen, I can go back to 2020 and being locked down in the house for such an extended period. And wow, yeah, maintain sanity was definitely the right term to use there. You know, people, again, the book is called My COVID-19 Diary. Practical tips and scriptures for improbable times from an American doctor. You're going to want to head on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, author TheresaWee.com, and pick up your copies. All right, that's the only way you're going to gather all of the information that's found within the confines of the book. You know, Theresa, follow up and really a curiosity for myself, but throughout this entire writing process of this book, what would you say was maybe something that surprised you, that you weren't anticipating before you began?
You know what really surprised me? I thought I was doing this, writing a blog for other people, because I had people, after a month or two, there were people worldwide following me. And I put a question out there, should I continue it? And many people said yes, you know, they're really relating. They look forward to my daily blog, like the daily newspaper. But the surprising thing is, after writing for 4 or 5 months, I began to realize that it was helping me. It was helping me to pause, to stay healthy, to see growth in me by putting it in writing. I think I was becoming a better person along with my readers. So that really surprised me. And one of the blogs is actually talking to my readers and saying, hey, guys, you guys need to pick up a pencil and paper and start journaling yourself. You may discover things. Even when I read the book now, I can see so much growth from the beginning to the end of the book.
Right.
And that really surprised me.
Love that. You know, I absolutely love that. And as much as I'd love to continue to talk to you about this book, I think it's important for us to really plug the next one. Now, people, you've already, you know, I've mentioned it already. My COVID-19 Diary was the anchor for today. But there's another book called The Happy, Healthy Revolution, the Working Parent's Guide to Achieve Wellness as a Family Unit. I promise you, it's just as impactful and just as beneficial, with a wealth of knowledge. Theresa, as we start to close out, I'd love for you to go into a brief description of your other title so we also know a little bit more about that one.
The Happy, Healthy Revolution, it comes from my passion to prevent and treat pediatric obesity. We are currently in a pediatric obesity crisis. This is going to be the first generation of children who will be more unhealthy than their parents. We need to regroup. We need to make that family unit come together and say, okay, let's get healthier together. And that's my whole premise of the book. I've done family workshops for the past 10 years, and this book is a summary of all the major issues we go through, talking about how families can get healthier together. This is a great resource especially for working parents, because personally, for myself as a working mom, you know, these are all tidbits from my practical experiences as well.
Yeah. You know, I love that notion, Theresa. And, you know, I come from a very big family. I have a lot of older brothers, and I oftentimes say how blessed we were to grow up in the generation that we were raised in. Because when we were growing up, technology wasn't around, right? And it definitely wasn't around to the extent that it is today. So my brothers and I, we were always outside. We were always playing because there was nothing inside the house to do. And it just created a certain type of lifestyle and mentality that we have now maintained into our adult years. But I can see the differences in my nieces and nephews. And now, as a new parent myself, my wife and I are also having these conversations about, well, you know, what is not only the world that we are raising our daughter in, but also the activities that we're going to want to maintain and keep her involved in so that she can have a healthier lifestyle. And people, listen, I get it. It's not always just about exercise. We also know that diet has a huge part to play. And being a working family as we are, Listen, sometimes it's not always as easy to come home and make a healthy dinner. Sometimes it's easier to just pick something up. But understanding the effects of that, I think this is so beneficial. From the most basic form in terms of raising awareness and generating conversation. Right. This book.
And I think as parents, we want to do the best for our children.
Of course.
If parents just need a little bit of education to empower them, to help them succeed, I truly believe that if our family unit can be strong and succeed, in turn, our nation will succeed. So the family unit is what I'm stressing, and parents are the co-captains, and I really try to see marriages stay strong, children, in a loving, authoritative way, look at their parents. And so this book will give you ideas and practical tips on how to do this.
People, listen, I can sit here, I can talk to Theresa for hours, okay? I'm literally at the edge of my seat, okay? I am engulfed in this conversation. There have been so many helpful things that I've already taken from both of these books, and we've barely scratched the surface, okay? I'm telling you, the onus is on you. If you are all like me, you are already heading on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, authorteresawee.com. You are in the process of purchasing your books as we speak because you understand, it doesn't take much to realize the benefit of these books. For everybody else, you're clearly asleep, okay? You need to wake up or you're going to get passed by. Head on over there today. Pick up your copies. It starts with my COVID-19 diary. But while you're at it, check out the other one, The Happy, Healthy Revolution. As I mentioned, both are by the fantastic Theresa Y. Wee, MD, with a plethora of knowledge for each and every one of you. Pick it up, get lost in it today. You can thank me later. Theresa, this has been a true pleasure, an absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you so much, Benji. You are very excellent at your craft.